Jason, Clear Creek Farm. How we doing tonight? I was just finishing up out here in the barn tonight, and I thought I'd invite you guys along to our part 3 of our series of when we were at a 4-H conference a few weeks back. Brooke will be talking about medications you should have on hand to raise a healthy herd. Just remember, we are not vets. We do not try to play vets here on YouTube. So please consult your vet on any applications of these medicines that we talk about. So please come along as Brooke talks about medicines that we have on hand here on the farm.
This is basically a list. Anybody who has goats really should have most of these on hand at all times. This small list of items on hand to keep the goat healthy. In case of a sick animal, it's always best to be prepared. Do not have a sick animal. You screaming around, texting people, messaging people. I need this medication. Do you have it? Oh, I don't. You're going to have to go talk to this person. Oh, you have it? No, I don't. You have to talk to this person. And the next thing you know, the goat's lying there dead because you weren't able to find what you needed. So make sure this is a good list to have on hand at all times. And just know I'm not a certified veterinarian. This list was basically made from trial and error, lots of error, and from working with our own vet. If you have an emergency or any questions, contact your vet. I advise everyone here, especially with the new med thing that they are thinking about implementing, basically taking every antibiotic off the shelf. Please find a vet that you like and get a good relationship with them. It's going to be absolutely valuable. If this bill passes, you have to have a vet to get everything strict. And a lot of the restricted meds, obviously, you can't get without your vet anyway. So just make sure you find a good vet that you like. It might take a couple vets to find one that you actually like. In our vet clinics, the one that we go through, I think there's 4 or 5 vets that work there, but there's only 2 that we will allow to step on our farm because the other ones don't know anything about those. No, I know more than they do. So there's only 2 that we will work with. And if they can't come out that day, I guess we're going to have to wait. I'll do it myself because I won't allow anyone who doesn't know anything about goats to touch my animals. So just make sure you get a vet. It might take a few before you find one that you actually know. So Draxxin. Draxxin is very expensive. For one vial, it's like $250. If your vet is nice like ours, they will let you draw off 10 or 20 cc's at a time, which is cheaper. But I always keep Draxxin on hand because it's very effective. It treats, it's very good for treating pneumonia and wound injuries. And the dosage and we actually also give Draxxin to every kid that drops in the ground right after birth. We have cut our navel ill and joint ill cases to 0 by doing that. Okay, so 10 to the cc for vet, 10 to the cc for newborn kids, 2 cc's for adults, and sub-Q.
So when you say adult, like when we get ours, they're only like 4 months old, 5.
I would do a half cc for kids from weaning until not 6 months. And then you can go ahead and do 2 cc.
After 6 months.
I think the actual dosage is like 1 cc per 100 pounds or something like that. So
I just rounded out to 2 cc. I've never had it in
right. So I think it's right there at 1 cc per 100 pounds. That's why we do the 10th because you're like at 10 pounds or 12 pounds or something like that.
New Floor or New Floor Gold is a respiratory antibiotic. It's very good for treating pneumonia again. 6 cc's for adults, half cc for kids. And it's IM. So basically, stand over them, pop it in their butt, give it to them. Use interlocking needles with Nuflor because it's very thick and it takes an ungodly long time to draw. It's like frustratingly long. So if you're in a bad mood that day, don't draw Nuflor because you'll just make it even worse. It's just, it's super thick. And the other day I was trying to draw some up like in front of the heater. Half hour later, still not done. Come on, so it takes forever. Albon, dimethazine. Drug of choice for treating coccidiosis. 10 cc for kids, 20 cc for adults, orally. Treat for 5 consecutive days. You can also get a pack of the sulfadimethazone that you mix with water. It's pretty much the same thing as Albon. Albon is just basically the pre-mix that they sell you. It's going to be more expensive than the powder form that you mix yourself. And go back real quick. And I like Albon because you don't have to do anything else with it. Like, I'll get into the Corid later, but Corid, yes.
I have a question about Nuflor. If it takes such a painfully long time to draw, why don't you just draw it up ahead of time?
You can. You can do that. Put it in the refrigerator. You can absolutely do that. Anyway, Corid's a thiamine inhibitor, and like I said, I'll get into that later. But with Albon, you don't have to do anything. You just basically give it to them and go. Banamine, please do not ever be caught without this in your medicine ever. Okay? It's an anti-inflammatory, pain and fever reducer. This is a must-have. 1 cc for 100 pounds for adults, 110 cc for kids. IM. It can't be given orally. Our vet actually makes a paste, Banamine paste. I will never buy a liquid Banamine again after having the paste. It's amazing. And if I did have to do the liquid, I would do it orally. I wouldn't inject in with it. Banamine is easy to overdose, so do not give them one dose more than every 12 hours. I do it every 24 hours just to the safe side. But if you have to, you've got a really bad case, you can do it every 12 hours, but no more. Bosi. This is not the same thing as Mosi, right? Bosi stands for selenium. This is basically straight selenium. Best treatment for white muscle disease. Okay, do anyone know what white muscle disease is? Basically, a severe selenium deficiency. And Michigan is a very poor selenium soil state, which means we do not have a lot of selenium in our soil. So basically give your kids, if they look like they need it, and you'll be able to tell. They'll be all bow-legged, or their tendons will flip, so their legs, they'll be like this at birth. Give them Bosi, and about 2 days later, they'll be all good to live. Okay, so 110 cc for newborn kids, half a cc for older kids, 2.5 cc for 100 pounds for adults. Do not overdose. Selenium is very easy to overdose, and it will kill your goat if you overdose them. They need selenium. It's an absolute must for goats to function bodily-wise, but too much is deadly. Okay, there's a very fine line.
Do they sometimes have it in their feed though? I mean, most feed is.
It does, not enough.
Not enough?
Not enough. No, not in Michigan. In some states you can get away with it, but not in Michigan. If you do feed a good goat-specific loose mineral, like we use Durafert, you won't necessarily have to do this.
I don't think we've used Bosi in the
Bosi,
last 3
no.
years.
I did use it on a couple kids this year, but they were trips. Mine was a little small, so I think they were kind of curled up too tight. But if you do use a goat-specific loose mineral, you can probably eliminate having to do this as long as they're eating the minerals.
Would that be something you could give it?
Bosi?
Yearly?
Yeah, Yes, yearly, or if they look like they need it. We don't do it unless they look like they need it, because we do feed them the loose minerals. So, what, where? Yeah, good.
Me?
Yeah.
What type of loose mineral are you using?
Durafirm. It's called
We use-
Durafirm Concentrate.
It's more of a, it's supposed to help them with getting
Bread.
but we just feed it all year.
Round, because it's so good.
It has a lot of the extra stuff that you should have, your goats should have all the time. Even though it is a little bit more expensive, but I hate to say it, once a goat gets filled up with what minerals they need, you'll see the
They
decrease in
taper
it.
off. If you put it in there with goats that haven't had it, they will attack it. And you can tell the ones that need it the worst because they will just be bombing.
See, we didn't see that big spike because we've always fed a goat mineral, a goat specific mineral.
Yeah.
Going down to Tractor Supply, Farm and Home, or whatever you guys have up here, and going and getting a mineral package is not the best thing to do.
Because they don't
Try to
have-
get the goat specific mineral because it has a lot more stuff your goats actually need.
Like the copper, a lot of times they won't put copper in all species mineral because of sheep. Sheep can't have copper, it's deadly to them. So goat specific mineral, goat specific mineral is preferred for goats because it does have the copper and the selenium.
Is mostly an injection or is it?
Yes, it's an injectable. Yep.
If anybody wants the slide or this presentation, I can text it to you instead of if you don't want to write down everything. So
Yeah.
Do you recommend the 18 gauge or a
20, yeah. I would probably recommend the 18 for like the new floor, but 20 is good for most of the stuff. C&D antitoxin, not the toxoid. Another must-have. Best way to treat overeating disease, aka floppy kid syndrome and/or Clostridium, 5cc-SQ. Okay? Toxoid and antitoxin are two different beasts. They're two different animals. Okay? The antitoxin works instantly, and the toxoid is your vaccine that you give them yearly. Okay? Don't be caught without antitoxin, because if you have kids that all of a sudden get a bout of Clostridium, they will die within 12 hours if you don't give them the antitoxin. It will turn it right around, and then 2 weeks. You want to give this every, I didn't write this down, I should have. You want to give this to them every 12 hours for like 24. I said 2 times in 1 day period. And then a week to 2 weeks later, you want to give them the vaccine. Because if you give them a vaccine when you give them this, they'll cancel each other out. So don't give this and the toxoid at the same time. CD&T vaccine, the toxoid. Vaccine for long-term protection against overeating disease type C and D, and also for tetanus. That's what T stands for. Cavalry 9 is the brand I recommend, 2cc-SQ. Now, I do not, you can, but I do not recommend going to your local farm store and getting their little thing of CD&T toxoid that they have in their coolers. Why? Because this has to be refrigerated at all times. Even when you're giving it to them, you want to have it in a bucket of ice, or it's going to kill the bacteria that's inside of it.
unless you really know your supplier,
Yeah, unless you know the store manager that they take care of their supplies.
because there's a lot, I've walked into our Tractor Supply down there and stuff, and even though I know the manager, and she wasn't in the day that they got the medicines in, there was sitting there, a box on the floor.
Yeah, it's
How
no
long has that
good.
been sitting there?
No good. They're going to sell it to people, it's going to do absolutely nothing for your animals because it's been sitting out. So the best way to do it is to buy it online at like Jeffers or Premier One or one of the PBS Animal Health is my personal favorite. I love.
You say PBS?
PBS Animal Health, yes, I love them. They're the ones who we get most of our medicine through, all the back through our vet. They ship it in ice. They basically put it in cardboard boxes and ice packs. And they ship it to you overnight. So that way you get it. And I really like Category 9, especially for kids. It seems to be the brand that we've had the most luck with. And it's a big one.
I have a question on the CDT. I've heard different things of when you should vaccinate the kids on that. What is your experience?
Don't do it until they're at least 4 weeks, because if you do it before then, they basically it doesn't do them any good. And also, a lot of people vaccinate moms a month before. We used to do that. We don't do that anymore because you can't rely on it in mom's body to protect the kids. You just can't. So we do 4 weeks, and then again at weaning, and then moms get once a year, and any new animal that comes to our farm gets it, and then they get a booster 4 weeks later.
So for those two SQs, what's that?
It's basically pull the skin back. Yeah. Yeah, there you go, make it 10. Yeah. Skin back.
Looks like a 10,
Yeah.
and you stick it in there.
Like
Yeah,
45.
that's the second.
Yeah, 45. Okay, dewormers. How many in here go to Tractor Supply and buy your goats a horse dewormer? White paste horse dewormers do not work for goats, with the exception of Quest Plus. The Plus, and the only reason why you get Quest Plus, the only reason is for the grassy quintal, okay? And that kills tapeworms. Other than that, don't do horse dewormers. The best dewormers for goats are Sidectin and Valpazin, not the white paste Valpazin, the liquid Valpazin, okay? There's a difference. Although Valpazin is not safe for pregnant goats, okay? Do not give Valpazin to pregnant goats because you will make them poor. Don't do it. Okay? Sidectin is our choice. That's what we use, is Sidectin. Ivermectin is no longer effective.
Are those pellets?
No, it's a liquid.
Is it liquid?
Yeah, it's an injectable. It's basically for sheep. We just do it orally. Okay? Sidectin is 1 cc per 11 pounds.
Are they all oral?
I know, isn't it?
We do all our worming oral.
Yeah.
It's more effective. And if you ever gave a animal of any type a shot of a wormer,
Wormer, yeah, it's
you'd think they're gonna die because
They jump
they're
around,
flopping
scream,
all over the
yeah,
place.
it's very
It
dramatic.
burns. It's bad. I'd rather see them watch them sit there and shake their head for 5 minutes because they took it orally than watch them.
Plus,
roll on the
I
ground.
really hate poking my goats. I can't stand giving them vaccines or injections. I can't stand it. I hate it. So if I can do that as least as possible, that's what I do.
And how do goats get worms? Like what types of things will they get for worms?
Well, supposedly goats get worms less than other animals because they're browsers and not grazers. They don't eat down. They're not supposed to anyway. They do because people put them out in the pastures where they shouldn't be, but they're not supposed to eat grass all the way down the ground. So they're meant to eat leaves and stuff off the ground where most larvae can't climb. But obviously that's
Okay,
an
so
ideal
it's-
world.
So it's even like we just have goats.
Yeah.
If they're ancient,
Yeah.
but if they're grazing, they could get something like in the trees or in.
Yeah, I want to say something about chickens in a second.
Yeah, but they could get it in those.
But the thing
They,
is,
Yeah.
they get it basically from, they eat an larvae or something that goes in, and they just check, and basically blooms, the eggs bloom. Sometimes they'll bloom, sometimes they don't. A lot of goats are resistant to worms. So I mean, we have goats, we have worms. So we have to.
Do you
But-
wait for the sign to see that they're losing a little weight, or do you just
We-
learn them every year just in
No,
case?
you know, we'll do fecals, or if we see one that looks like she might need it, we'll give it to her.
The biggest time we see that we get a quick worm load, or we see 4 or 5 animals, if it's been super dry,
Right, and we get
and then
rain,
we get
it's
a
like, bam!
hard downpour for like 2 or 3 days, and like 3 or 4 days after that, everybody gets the poops and like that. That's you better get out there, because most likely it's barber pole, and if you don't treat that stuff quick, you're gonna have dead animals quick.
And the thing about chickens, I was gonna say, don't worry about your chickens and your goats, because they can't spread diseases.
Everybody says
So, yeah, they
coccidiosis
can't.
comes from
Coccidia is species specific. Yes, thank you.
it lives in every, and I just ran into this because somebody tried to accuse a good friend of mine that I know raises good animals, and he had some model babies he sold, and a week later they came down with coccidiosis, and stress brings on coccidiosis. That's the biggest thing that brings on coccidiosis is stress. So if an animal's switching them around,
Overcrowding and bad.
Overcrowding.
They are unsanitary conditions. You don't know what they're going through, right?
You had mentioned in the last session, Chelsea, if you warm them next year, more and more resistant
Resistant
to
to
that stuff.
deworming. Yeah,
So
that's why it's
you're
so
gonna go
important.
through 20 of them before you get something that's gonna be effective.
that's why I'm a mag don't work no
Yeah,
more.
it's because people are using it way too much. Okay, dexamethasone, aka Dex. It's a steroid. It's another must-have. Although if new to this drug, he's only under direction of a vet. Okay? Dex is a tricky one. Now we are not, oh, excuse me. We are never without this drug. Okay? It's part of the protocol for inducing those. And it's also, if you have retained placenta, you can give them Dex to help them get rid of it. Although this is a drug that has to be basically, they have to be weaned off for 5 days. Okay? So every consecutive day you're giving them a little less. And it's also a immunity inhibitor, so it will lessen their immunity. So you want to make sure that you have a good clean environment and not allow other symptoms or the different symptoms. No, we don't, Banamine, we use Banamine for that. This, basically the only thing we really use Dex for is if we have, to induce a dog, she's sick, has toxemia or something, we'll induce her with it. Or we've used it several times for retained placentas. If we didn't catch at the time, we could use oxytocin, or we use it.
And the one thing you guys gotta remember, especially if you call your vet up and say, hey, I need this, I was told I need this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vets that'll say, I'm not gonna give you this. You got to build that relationship with your vet.
To
That
make
they-
sure that they know that you know what you're talking about.
That's
Exactly.
basically only for breeding though, I mean, you're having babies.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, we don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would probably not have this if you weren't,
Right,
if you weren't.
okay.
Yeah, we run into that, a lot of people and stuff that we mentor, that we tell them, hey, call your vet and tell them, hey, you need this is a problem. And lucky the one vet we work with at the same time, but they're like, we can't get that, they won't give it. So I end up driving an hour north of us to get them that drug because we know that's what they need. And then the vet comes back 2 days later because it's one of the vets that we don't allow on our farm. Oh, see, it got treated all by itself. And then they go, no, it didn't. They brought us this and because we told you this is what's wrong. And you weren't listening. So you got to build that relationship. It's all about relationships with your vet. Especially if you have a vet that don't know a lot about goats.
Yeah. We actually, our one vet, he's awesome. And we've actually helped each other learn about goats. We've helped him learn, he's helped us learn, so it's been a really good relationship. Because a lot of vets don't know much about goats. It's a minor species. They don't teach it in vet school. So they have to learn it in the field. actually work with a farm who knows about goats, so they can learn about goats and they can kind of bounce treatments off each other. That's what we did, and it's worked really good for us. Yeah, that's how we learned a lot of stuff. So,
On that note, that we had one up here in the area that 20 years ago when I first started goats, called them out because I had Nigerian work, the baby was stuck coming out. He's told me, well, I'm not wasting my time, it's just a goat.
yeah,
He's gotten better, but I still will allow my bark.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, a lot of people have that mentality
watching you,
about goats.
because my kids were devastated. It was the first time we were having little ones on the farm, and it was nothing I could do.
And there's times, especially during kidding season, if you call your vet and basically they say, oh, okay, we'll come do a C-section. If you think there's no way you've worked on it, and called maybe a couple other friends that have goats to help you work on it, then call for a C-section because 95% of the time the goats are dead anyways.
You have to
You
have
might-
a vet that knows.
You might as well just take and get a razor out and do it yourself because that's the survivability rate of the actual goat.
You have
itself.
vets that are really good at doing C-sections, and you have ones that aren't so good at doing C-sections. So you gotta find one that's good at it. I mean, we have friends that have had goats with C-sections, and they live, they're fine. I mean, Brad and Kevin extra had babies just fine. But the vets they use knew how to do the C-section. Because there's a lot of them that don't. I mean, they can do it on a cow, but you can't do it on a goat. So make sure you have a vet that knows how to do that. Epinephrine, used to treat shock, 1 cc's per 100 pounds, IM, okay? Antitoxin, the CDA toxin we talked about earlier, will sometimes cause shock, okay? So have this on hand to give them if they start going into shock. So I mean, I personally never had a goat do this, but I've had friends who've had goats that were allergic to some medication that they gave them. So this is another good one to have on hand. You can use, what's that? Human over-the-counter medication for allergies. You can use Benadryl too, but epinephrine is better. Exceed, antibiotic. This is a hard one to get. It's even hard for us to get. Vets don't like to give this out very much because it's a one-time antibiotic and it's very, very good. It's a very good antibiotic. It's very strong. So they don't really like to use it unless it's under direction of them. Glutalase, used to cycle does or induce labor, 2 cc's. If you're breeding does, make sure you have some lute on hand. Okay? Because you will end up with toxemia. You will end up with reasons to need this. And if you don't have it, you're going to be in trouble. Oxytocin, used to stimulate contractions during labor and or help the doe expel placenta. It must be used in the first 2 hours after birth before it's exposed to 1.5 cc per 100 pounds. If you have a doe who's not dilating, do not give them oxytocin, because if you do, all you're going to do is make her have contractions. She's going to push against that closed cervix, and you're going to get nowhere but tiring her out. Okay, so don't use this if your doe is not dilating. There's other methods to use besides oxytocin. Thiamine. It doesn't matter if you have Weathers, commercial, show, whatever. Make sure you have this on hand at all times. Okay? Goats love their B vitamins, and this is the best one. Triple antibiotic ophthalmic treatment or ointment, I didn't spell that right. Used for treating pink eye. We had pink eye 2 years ago, and this stuff is amazing. It was gone within 24 hours of using this ophthalmic ointment. Your vet will know which brand and which type to use. Medications over the counter. So this is stuff that you can go to Farm and Home or Tractor Supply and buy for yourself. Tetanus antitoxin. Use the whole bottle as 1 dose. Usually it's 5 cc's. We've only ever had to do this once, and I would never want to do it again. It was awful. And you can buy that in like the refrigerated section at TNC or Farmstead. Sustain 3 bolus, sulfa, methazone, also known as SMZ tablets, awesome for treating bacterial scours. If we have a goat that's scouring, this is the first thing we drink. Grind up into a powder, add a bit of water to form a paste and drench. Half bolus per animal is under a pound. 1 bolus per animal is over 100 pounds.
These are the dairy.
Not dairy.
Or
They
cow
come in a blue box with some Angus cows on the front. Yeah, it's a cattle thing. Their boluses are about this big. They're white. And
Okay.
you grind them up in a food blender, and you add a little bit of water to make a paste. Suck it up when your drench done, and drench them up. It works. We do other things when they have diarrhea, but this isn't always doing that always, because this will clear up any diarrhea that they have.
They do make one for smaller species, but it's
That's the SMZ tablets. The ones that
they're
they-
super hard to find. Most
They have
farm,
TNC. They have them in
most farm stores don't carry them usually, and then finding the gun to use them to get them down.
Yeah, that's why the gun basically, because you can't really grind up the little ones, so you have to find the gun and punch it down, which I hate doing. It's just easier just to make the paste and drench it with them.
Yep.
Drench it with it.
Basically, when I go to make the paste, if it's a 1 tablet, I take 1 tablet and then I add 3/4 of whatever syringe I'm using. So if I'm using a 20 cc syringe, I'll use half of that, put in there, mix it up really good, and that's what I suck back up. Don't just dump a bunch of water in there, because then it's a pain in the butt, because you're drenching them like 20 times to use everything up, because you want to get everything out of that tablet in there.
SpectroGuard. I'm sure most of you probably know what this is.
What does drench mean?
Drench. Go to Farm and Home or TSC and you'll see a drench gun. It's basically a long metal tube with a syringe with a pump on the end of it. You put them between your legs, put their head up, you put the tube down the throat, and put this down their throat.
You can use a regular syringe
Syringe
as
do
well.
it, yeah.
Basically,
60 cc.
drench.
60 cc syringe.
Yeah, basically drenching is basically taking a liquid and forcing it down.
their throat, yeah.
You don't actually have to go in their throat, but get it back where they have to be able, so that way they get it down. That's the biggest thing. I like the syringes with the long ends on them. I think they're 60 cc syringes, but they're getting harder and harder to find. Everybody went to the ones with the twist things on them, which are great, but not for, it's usually you pick up a drench gun for like $15 and it's good for years.
And they come apart like an Yeah, I know.
See, I got-
Bit the end off.
See, I like the ones with the metal ends, because usually, like I said, they last for years and stuff. They'll get rusted after the first time you put them in their throat, but usually I don't ever worry about that.
If you're showing leathers, a drench gun is a must-have, because you're going to want to be giving them dye the last 2 weeks before the show, so you can get them balled up. And then you can put dye on their feet, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to eat it all. So drenching them with dye twice a day. I didn't put dye on this list. I should have. You can get dye on the counter. It's a tannish, brownish liquid, comes in a gallon jug, and it smells like caramel.
How do you spell that? What is that?
D-Y-N-E. And it's basically a very high energy, and it makes them just bulk right up.
Don't do it for a long period of time, because you'll end up
Like I
with a fat
said,
animal.
yeah, like I said, you want to do it 14 to 17, oh my God, 14 to 7 days before your show. So you're not going to want to be drenching your weather for months, because you'll hurt their liver doing that. But anyway, okay, we're on. I didn't get past this one there. SpectroGuard used to treat treat scours and piglets. Comes in a box, the SpectraGuard, a red and white box. It works great on kids as well. This is what we use when we have scours and kids, because a lot of times it's E. coli or something like that. It's a red liquid. It comes in a pump bottle. It is an antibiotic, but it's approved for over-the-counter purchase right now. Basically, you just put them between your legs, and 2 pumps twice a day in their mouth, and it usually takes care of it within 2 days.
What's a scour?
It's basically diarrhea. It's funny food. Red cells, a liquid iron supplement made for horses, used to treat anemia, 4cc orally. So if you have a bad worm infestation and your goat's just really anemic, give them some red cell. Red cell is really good stuff. And actually, once they get a taste for it, they want it, they crave it. They will run right up to you and stick it in their mouth and they'll suck it right up to you. Bolvi syrup, over-the-counter injectable, give to kids who didn't receive adequate colostrum. The unfortunate thing about this stuff is it's harder to find. Okay? It's really hard to find, but if you have kids who you don't want to put on the bottle, so you're not going to give them powdered colostrum, and mom just did not make colostrum she should have, give them some Bolvi syrup, and they should be good to go.
We do colostrum paste as well. You can usually pick that up at Tractor Supply, Farm Home, stuff like that. Works just as well. Not as good as this stuff, but it works.
Peppermint oil cream, amazing for treating mastitis with congested udders. Okay, so I know they make like a peppermint liniment that you can rub on horses' legs. That will work really good. That also works good for wethers on their hide, to cool them down. I like to use peppermint essential oils and I mix it in with a little bit of plain lotion, rub it on there, and it's cleared out every congested udder I've ever put in. So it's really good stuff. I mean, peppermint oil is amazing.
Peppermint udder balm too from
Yeah.
Tractor Supply. They have actually.
If you do that, I would actually add a few drops of peppermint oil to it just to make it really strong. Penicillin, PenG, antibiotic, really no longer effective due to resistance, although it is a key element in the treatment of polio. I do not like penicillin. You have to give so much of it for it to be effective that I prefer other antibiotics that you have to give less to that work way better. You can get this at any farm store in the refrigerated section. Make sure you always keep it refrigerated. Do not leave it sitting out because you will ruin it. You have to shake it up really good when you do decide to use it. I wasn't done. And polio. Have any of you experienced polio? You have? It's horrible. It's a disease, it's a metabolic disease in goats. It affects the brain. And thiamine and penicillin are the main ingredients to treat it. You can bring them around, but it takes a lot of penicillin and a lot of thiamine. So vitamin B or B complex, goats require B vitamins to function. Thiamine is the better product. If you don't have thiamine, you can use vitamin B. Oh my God, I cannot stop. Vitamin B or B complex. B complex is the weakest of the three. So you have to get more of that than you do the other one. I prefer thiamine because it is so much better. But if you, like I said, if you don't have thiamine on hand, these two will. New stock. Anybody ever use new stock? No? Oh, you guys are missing out. It's so great. Paste used for treating mites, worms, and is great for hair regrowth. Highly recommend this product. So if you have a wound on a goat and just the hair does not grow back, use new stock. It will grow back within a week. We'll have hair.
Only thing I hate about it,
It's kind of stinky.
you gotta use gloves. Definitely use it. And it's not a bad stink. It has sulfur in it. so it gets into your skin and I'm always in a hurry when I'm using it. So I grab it with my hands, I squirt it in my hands, slap it on, and 2 days later and stuff, I get a hangnail, I go to take it, I'm like, ugh, you know. Yeah, so that's the worst thing about it, and that, or you go rub your nose, rub your face, whatever. I know we're not supposed to be doing that these days, but you'll smell it for a week. So yeah.
Use gloves, and when you do use it, a lot of the watery, the mineral oil that they use in it will start at the bottom, so you gotta make sure you squeeze the tube to
Mix
get
it
it all
up
mixed
good.
up. Yeah. But it's an awesome product. I love it. LA 200. Any of you guys can get this anywhere at farm store. Never be caught without this product. It's long-acting, broad-spectrum antibiotic. 1 cc for 20 pounds. That's cute. It can be given orally. So if you've got bad diarrhea, you can give this to your goats orally. Very effective in treating abortal diseases. It's basically the only drug that will treat abortal diseases. Okay, so I don't remember the name of it, but I know there's one that they can get for cats. So if they eat hay with cat feces on it, they can get this disease and cause abortions. Give them LA 200 and it'll clear it up.
And when you're say you have a bottle of LA 200, because it comes in a
I
big
was
bottle.
getting there.
Oh. It comes in a big bottle. Don't throw it away.
Yeah.
Even if it goes bad.
Even if it's expired, don't throw it away, because the darker it is, the stronger it gets, and it's awesome for treating foot rot. So basically, you just take it in a syringe, take the needle off of it, clean the hoof really good, squirt the LA 200 all in the hoof rot and wrap it with vet wrap, and it treats it really, really good.
Even just topical wounds too.
Yeah.
If you have a wound that won't heal up, you can squirt that on there.
But this does not need to be refrigerated. Keep it in a cool, dark place. We don't want it to be in direct sunlight, obviously, but you don't have to refrigerate it. Nutri-Drench comes in a pump bottle, little pump bottle. Good energy oral supplement used for down and stick goats, for goats off feed. You can also use Power Punch. They don't like the taste of this stuff very good. It's very dark red stuff. Almost looks and smells like molasses, but they don't like the taste of it because it's very minerally. It's not very good. Yeah. And they will fight you on it, but it's a very good product to get quick energy in your goats that are down. Iodine. We always have bottle iodine on here. Works wonders for treating mites and abscesses. Okay, so if you have an abscess on your goat somewhere, and it goes out, or you cut it out and squeeze it out, throw some iodine in there, and it's cleared up within 2 days.
You want your highest concentration of iodine.
Yeah,
It's
don't
getting
get
harder to find
Don't
with
get diluted.
all these crazy people out here. But if you can find a dairy farm that still uses iodine, you can get some 100% or 98%. Go over there and offer them $10 for a gallon jug because they only pay $5 or $2, and get a gallon jug of it. And don't go bad, so you can have it forever. But great
If you
to
have
have.
mites, get a spray bottle, put your iodine in the spray bottle, spray your goat down with it where it has mites, and it will take care of the mites. You gotta do it 2 or 3 times, but it will. It's the best thing we have found so far to take care of mites.
What happens if you overdose?
As well.
Like, if the drug that you're giving, what happens if you overdose?
We'll die. Yep. We'll go in shock and we'll die, unfortunately. So that's why we have dosages.
When you use the iodine for treating mites and put it in a spray bottle, do you need to add water to it, or are you trying straight iodine?
Straight iodine.
Right on. And do you want to shave them first, or do you want to do it?
Usually you can't, because it's usually get crust. It's like mites make a crust on them. If you can bathe them and
Yeah,
scrub it off,
that's my
that's the
favorite
best way to
method
do
for
it.
mites is to wash them, scrub the crap out of them, and then you can put iodine on it.
Sometimes it looks bad, because you're like pulling skin and hair and everything off. But 4 or 5 days of treating them with it, especially if it's really bad, usually clears it up. And if you can go back every month and spray them down with iodine, and most iodine, even the really good stuff, don't dye the hair much, so it's not like it's not
And
that.
then when we're done with that, when the mites are gone, we'll use new stock to regrow the hair. Thank you. So electrolytes, always have these on hand too, guys. Super important to keep your goats hydrated. Okay? Even if your goat's not sick, but it's super hot outside, the electrolytes in their bucket so they drink water. Okay, Bounce Back, Resorb, Electrolytes Plus. I used to help goats with dehydration. Resorb, I like Bounce Back and Electrolytes Plus. Resorb is kind of weird because it comes in 2 packets and you gotta mix them together. It's used for cattle, and it's a really good product if your goat is super dehydrated. Another one is lactated ringers, which I didn't put on here because it's a vet strip, and you gotta put it under the skin, but that's for extreme cases. But if you basically have a goat that's got the runs really bad, you want to make sure that you keep them hydrated all the time, especially bottle babies. The bottle babies with runs, take them off milk for a day, put them on electrolyte water, because if not, you're gonna kill them. Corid, this is the one I was talking about earlier. Water soluble coccidia treatment must be used in conjunction with thiamine, as it's a thiamine inhibitor. Okay? So if you do Corid for a couple of days in your bucket of water, you can pour it in your bucket of water and they drink it for the coccidia. Make sure when you're done with the Corid treatment that you do at least 2 days of thiamine, because the Corid pulls all the thiamine out of your body. And if you don't have thiamine in your body, you get polio. You don't want polio. Polio is not fun. And that's it. Any questions? Any more questions about that?
Thank you for coming along with us as Brooke talked about medicines that we have here on the farm to a group of 4-Hers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that and got some education out of that. But remember, we are not vets. We don't play vets here on YouTube. And so you need to consult your local vet to find out if what we've told you is adequate and if that's what they would do. Don't go off of what we say or anybody else says. So that's something that you guys need to remember. Another thing here, we will be doing a subscriber giveaway when we hit 1,000 subscribers. So please go down and hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell and make sure you select all notifications. So that way you know when we release new videos. 88% of you guys are not subscribers. So we'd love to have you guys on our subscriber base and know that what we are doing. If you're not for sure exactly how to subscribe, please drop me a message or come see me on Facebook at Clear Creek Boer Goats on Facebook, and I'll be able to help you out with trying to become a subscriber, because the only people that will be eligible for this giveaway are people that are already subscribers before we hit the 1,000 mark. So please come along with us as we show you guys more about here on the farm and what we are doing to raise quality Boer goats. So thank you for coming along, and see you guys on the next video.